Welcome back, everybody. This is the fifth, I believe, episode of the Canceled Podcast, here hosted by Devin Smith. It has been a break since I've got on here, my last episode being late November. It was actually on the day of Thanksgiving when I did it. This is the 28th of January, so Happy New Year. Still, I feel like we can still say Happy New Year at the beginning of the month, with the first month. Um, it's been a minute. Not holding to plan with the podcast rollout that I thought I would do, but it is what it is. Life is life, and life is going well. Life is a blessing. So there's plenty of good things that I'm not that there's plenty of good things that I'm intending to. That's putting that above my podcast time and making the podcast. With work wise, and just life wise. So just wanted to throw that out there. I would have loved to get more into the sports scene of this podcast, but I really didn't have the time to, and like I wanted to. But it is still an opportunity to put out there. For instance, my San Francisco 49ers, we had a decent season this year. Overall, we had a lot of injuries that deflated, that tore us apart, but we still found our way and effort to make it into the postseason, which was incredible because we did beat Philadelphia. I will claim that and take that as my Super Bowl for the year, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, we went to when they're super injured, and we beat them, the defending champs. So yeah, so bang bang, not a gang. But yeah, this is it's 2 months since my last episode. I do hope to keep this up as a new year, to be more disciplined and more focused on everything, especially with my life. These next 2 months ahead with work wise will be like insane for me, prayerfully. With as well as a new adventure that will be tied along with the job. It will be a lot going on within these next 2 months for sure. So I'm going to try to be at least more disciplined, stop being more lazy. I do have a lot of work days, but at least make use of my days when I'm off instead of just sleeping in my bed and relaxing, which is stuff that I do need. But I'm going to try to get more active and more, more, more vocal to y'all, to my podcast crew. One of these episodes is like, one of my series that I started last year in 2025, at the beginning of the year, where I wrote like these weekly messages. Something that hopefully I can try to get more into this year, with spreading positivity. That's like one of my main goals, as I said in previous episodes before. But this episode message is mainly on defining your destiny. I believe this was my first message that I wanted to put out, but I think I switched up whenever I found a title for how you gonna win when you ain't right within, and I made that one my first one. You gotta learn the messages of what you have to know how you gonna win if you ain't right within. So you have to know yourself before you do that. So this message right here is define your destiny. I remember when I first started doing these messages, I didn't know like how should I title it, how should I go about it, and I remember I was at my friend Danny's apartment at the time, and I was just trying to get a title to go like what I can write down, and he was like, "Define your destiny," and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice one." And like I said before, how you gonna win if you ain't right within? You have to know within yourself that you want to be a winner. You have to be knowing that you're okay with life before you go out and you decide to do that journey that you're about to go on. So, and finding the destiny that you want to put out. So I like to start on that with this message. The Merriam-Webster dictionary define as determine or identify the essential qualities of meaning of life, presents us with countless opportunities and the choice we make to shape the direction of our lives. Our mindset and the mentality are products of our choice. Nothing controls us unless we allow it to. With allowing our choices in life, we choose our path and choose our way of life through free will, and that's what I tend to get into within this episode and this message that I wrote. It's the power of free will, how we shape our lives, um, how our mindsets are not accidental, um, and that nothing controls us unless we allow it to. This is one of the biggest things that I felt like was a key factor. Like I said, the same story I'm going to give over again. After graduating from college, I definitely found the truth and the the meaning of life and the power of free will that I received after graduating, and the power of discernment after graduating, and how I wanted to approach life after graduating with the hardship that I had to go through and the trials and tribulations that I had to go through. So it I definitely discovered out free will and the responsibilities that I had with it, and that most people, well, we all have free will, but most people don't believe in themselves in a way that free will has, and they let their minds control them when we control ourselves. In my next paragraph, I wrote down one of the greatest gifts God has given us is the power of free will. As a famous Spider-Man quote says, with great powers comes great responsibilities. This gift allows us to influence not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. When used positively, free will enables us to build a life rooted in love, the greatest treasure of all. When we use it negatively, it can lead to bitterness and lack of affection, causing us to miss out on genuine love and joy. Like I said, I believe that free will is definitely one of God's greatest things that He has given to us. It's a gift that He's blessed us with, and it's a powerful hope because it can determine how we use it. Like I said, positively or negatively. With that responsibility, it gives you those two paths, and like the Spider-Man quote said as well, with great power comes great responsibility. How will you choose to live your life? One of the biggest factors, like I said, and the reason why I started this podcast was to use and spread positivity. For instance, the story, this is the main reason why I feel like I choose positivity every single time, because it was an old lady when I was working at Food Lion, and it seemed like I was having a down day. I think I was a freshman in college, really didn't know where I was going to go. It was just a lot going on with COVID. I think this is my sophomore year, actually. Yeah, it was my sophomore year. Just still trying to get into the flow of school, just a lot of work going on, and then I'm working as well. We're getting back into school, so I'm trying to adjust things after COVID, like making new friends as well, because basically my first year at UNC Charlotte. And so I'm looking down, and I remember this lady just came in. She just made my day. She was laughing, making jokes, doing everything to make me happy. And she noticed that I was looking down. And after she was making those jokes, she noticed that I was laughing, and it made my day better. And after that, she came up to me. She was like, always have a positive mindset because you never know what someone else is going through. And that was one of the biggest things that I always remember. Don't know who this lady was, who this lady is. I wish I knew who she was, but she made a lasting impact on me as a 19-year-old at the time, to stay positive and to always have a positive mindset, because it truly has changed my perspective on life, of how I should approach things, um, and how should I go about things. And that was one of the biggest factors that helped me after graduation, whenever I had my hardship, was discovering that I had the power and the gift of free will and using it in a positive mindset. There was days after graduation, post-grad days, when I just sat down in my bed, laid down, cried, um, went through multiple battles, but eventually I chose the free will plan of following God's plan. That was for me, and it turned out to be one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made, by following His plan. You can also use that negativity, the power of free will, and use it negatively. Um, this can come from past mistakes within your life and how you choose to um, build off that negativity. Do you want to have your past trauma leave you in the way of your past and forgetting things? Is it going to mentally affect you? I believe that your mental is through you and your power of free will. Tragedies do happen. Trust me, I'm one of the main person that has been through a lot of tragedies in life, uh, with a lot of surgeries, just a lot of other hardships in my life, personal hardships in my life that has been hard for me. But I always found a way to get through that and let it not define me to be just let it not define me to be negative, in my use of free will. And I think it should be a big message, hopefully, as I get down further within this episode. It will be um, it'll be the message of how your negativity can actually turn into your lesson and discover what you really truly are and how it builds you into the character that you are today. In my third paragraph, I wrote, "You may think that the negative actions of others or hardships you face define you, but they don't. The choices others make do not determine your worth, and your past does not dictate your future. God's grace ensures that every new day is an opportunity to start fresh. There's a reason why we don't relive yesterday. Each morning brings a new chance to choose differently and to live better." That was one of the biggest things that I've realized, um, just recently, with the new day, especially like I said again, at post grad, that you already live through the worst times in your life, and that was the day before. With the opportunity of a new day, we have a chance to make something better and newer, and how that past can determine your future and how you can either build from it or let it tear you down. But what you went through in your past cannot be relived unless you want the power to change that. Um, for instance, I know you can let someone who's broke your heart, who let you down, define you to be a person that's evil in this world, or you can change it in the future way of bringing positivity. One of the, for one instance, when I was let down, um, I feel like I had the option to become the meanest, worst, terrible person out there in this world, very toxic person out in this world, but I didn't let that define me. That's when I gave more of my faith to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I followed more of His plan that He had for me, and it led me to a positive route, changing into being a better man. I let that past, heartbreak and let down turn me into a better man of Christ, a person who wants to seek better for themselves. And I'm not going to say like each day was better. It was definitely a hardship. It took me like a good couple 3 months, but those 3 months definitely were. It moved me into the right path where life was heading for me. And it I didn't, but I chose that. I chose that lifestyle. I didn't let it. I didn't choose to go through the negative route. I had a lot of people telling me. I had 30 people in their late 30s telling me to go through the worst route, but I chose to do the route myself, and I feel like it was the best plan for me, and it's led me into this great position where I'm at now in life, because I chose the plan of God, that of what He has for me. I continue to spread my positivity and not focus on the negatives that that person put me through during that time. Um, One thing that I read from my script that I forgot to emphasize, was basically repeat what I said, but I like this meaning a lot. If yesterday was meant to define you, God wouldn't have woken you up for today. And like I said, He gives you that power of waking up, is something that you should take as a blessing, is an opportunity to make the best of. If he didn't want you to relive, he would have woken you up today. So that's also another reason why you should also keep going and use that blessing to make it a positive day instead of a negative day. And the fourth and fifth paragraph is basically a recap of what I said, but I want to go over the full story with y'all. Um, which is this is in reference to the summer of 2024. Was one of the hardest seasons of my life. After the high of graduating college, a moment I had worked so hard to achieve, life took an unexpected downward turn, and I experienced loss and failure in ways I've never imagined. It felt as though everything I had dreamed of and worked hard for was slipping away. In those moments, I had every reason to let failure define me, but instead, I choose to view it as a test from God. This was an opportunity for me to grow rather than give up. I used that time to strengthen my faith, deepen my relationship with God, and live in the alignment of His plan that He had for me. Through prayer and reflection and trust, I found a renewed sense of purpose and direction. Now I am blessed. I am blessed to be in the position that I am today. The position that I am today, and reading this from, I believe when I wrote this was last year at this time, kid you not, probably around like January or February. Um, it's just grown even more since that time. I'm looking at myself now. I'm like, man, do you think you can do that? But God saw that I can do it. He looked at me and He said that I can't do it. I wouldn't believe it, but God did. And um, man, God is the greatest, man. I'm sorry, man. Um, he put more faith in me than I had in myself, and that is the greatest thing that you can have. It's just God, man. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. This is sentimental because it's a blessing to where I came from, and I felt like that moment after graduation, I was just like, I was too cocky, I was too this, but I got humbled through His plan, and that built me into the person that I am today. I'm gonna repeat that over and over again. God is the greatest. I'm sorry, but that was the best testimony that I've ever been through in my life, and it showed what God can do for you when you put your faith in His plans. Man, let me go on to the next paragraph. Uh, Your power of free will allow you to embrace each new day as a fresh start. Don't waste your time dwelling on the past or trying to fix what cannot be changed. Forgive, let go, and focus on the people and the things that truly matter. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing the hurt. It means freeing yourself from its control. This is for more of the sakes for others, and my hopes to spread this positivity that I have from my benefits and how I can spread it to y'all. Um, let failure define you in the positive way. Um, we've all seen the movie Meet the Robinsons. One of their ending quotes is "Keep moving forward." And with actually, we're in the month of January, and a couple days ago, I went to a Martin Luther King event at my church, and we had we were going over his keep moving forward quotes that he has, and it's a powerful one, especially within the Black community. Without especially what's going on in this country right now, there's a lot of hardships of families being separated, a lot of hard times within our people of color in the community in the state. But Martin Luther King said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. He didn't say go backwards. He didn't say let's stay in the past. Let's try to fix our past. No, we have to keep moving forward. Especially as members back in the day with the civil rights going on, it was a lot of stuff, a lot of hardship. I'm telling you, these people probably are going through what they went through was nowhere as near as bad as we are having it right now. You have churches being blown up. You have members in the Black community being hung. You have people getting raped. it's a lot of hardship that they went through, and they continue to always find a way to keep moving forward instead of letting their past define them. And it's a blessing to where we're at now, where we should have that same mentality. Instead of holding our past back, we should always keep moving forward and fighting for what is right for within you and as yourself. um, there's going to be like the example of the civil rights. They had hardship, possibly every single hardship that a human can go through, and they still found a way to keep moving forward. And that's why I want to give y'all the motivation to keep moving forward, because there's nothing in our past that can define us. There's nothing in our past that can tell us who we are or what we can do. The future is ahead, and that's exactly why we have a new day. Again, that's exactly why we have a new day, that the Lord brings us when He wakes us up, to make the best of our opportunity and to make the best of ourselves and for others. Having those moments can be hard, because it has to give a chance of forgiveness to that person or that thing that has caused that harm to you. In my next quote, I wrote down: take a moment to appreciate the ones who love you and the ones that want to see you succeed. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. The journey won't always be easy, but when you focus on gratitude, love, and faith, you'll find yourself in a much better place. You are no one's mistake, and no one has the power to control your destiny except you. God has equipped you with everything you need to build a life filled with hope and love and purpose. My advice is simple: choose God, will choose good as well. Let your choices reflect the life you want to live, and trust God to guide your path. Also, remember each new day is a gift, and with God's help, you have the power to find your destiny. With choosing the people that you want in your life, for the ones that are around your life that spreads love, and joy and hope, you also have the opportunity to forgive people that has possibly hurt you in those decisions, and hopefully they've had the same exact changes that has helped them become a new person and realize that they have a new day and the new opportunities that they can seek. Um, I feel like it's best to forgive and forget. You can't really fix much of what happened in the past, but you can also only make their life even better ahead. Um, I also feel like this is choosing your peace over pride, in a way. Because that was one of the biggest things I felt like after I realized this. I feel like it got to a point actually recently where I felt like all these blessings were coming to me, and it seemed like this is really recent, like a couple weeks ago, where I felt like the position that I'm in now, I definitely let God. I knew it was God's plan, but it made me feel like I'm better than this person. I'm better than that person of how hard I work. But I quickly remembered how I was um, after the multiple job rejections that I got post grad, and I didn't realize the blessings that I had in front of me. So I quickly humbled myself before I feel like God definitely did his humbling decision on me like He did before, um, with choosing peace over pride. I looked at the people that I got rewarded over, and they're equal balance to me. I do still have a mentality: I don't think nobody can work harder than me, because that's just a mentality to make me better. But it it gave me the peace to choose peace over pride, and saying, instead of saying I'm better than this person, I'm better than that person. Because you're not, you're never going to be better than nobody. We're all the same. We may have a different work ethic that we put out there, but we just work harder, but we don't have the opportunity to be better than somebody. It's also better to heal over revenge as well. You can't win anything if you're going to get revenge back. You're just going to be in a lose-lose situation. The best thing is to definitely heal yourself. You can have the healing process of forgiving that person and not talking to them again. You can have the healing process of talking with that person again, and just fixing your situation that you went through and the hardship that you went through with them. With that forgiveness and how you choose it, I feel like that's another way I feel like you can get more connected with God, because that's his plan is forget and forgive in a way. You can definitely remember understand what happened, but it's best to forget and forgive. But God will want you to forgive overall. And that brings me to trusting him and trusting the path that is for you through his plan. It is very unclear. Like I said, you never know where you're going to end up at. Um, I'm still young in a way. I don't know where his plan is going to take me, but I know that it's going to be good. That's with Jeremiah 29:11, that he has plans for me, not to harm me or forsake me, but to have a blessed, successful future. I definitely did go word for word with that, but it's definitely a positive future that I know that God has for me, and trusting his plan, keeping my faith through him, keep on following and being um, the best Christian, or follower of him is through his plan, and just continue to be that person. I know that there will be a successful plan that he has for me. He's led me into this position currently right now. If I continue to work on being better, I know there will always be hardship. There's always going to be hard tests and trials and tribulations, but that's what he's going to put you through in order to realize what you need to work to be better and to be the best in that position. I do want to leave y'all on a closing scripture that I got whenever I was reading. Whenever I wrote this message, was Isaiah chapter 49 verses 18 through 19. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Not now it springs forth. Do not preserve it. I will make a way in the wilderness, in the river, in the deserts. All the tough environmental spaces, God will always find a way to get you out of that, and that's the example that he wrote in Isaiah chapter 49. That you will go through a lot of stuff, but you will eventually get through it, by not remembering the former things, but the things ahead. I also have a message from my devotion that I read last year, that helps out with this as well. It's titled Forgotten but Not Forgotten. The chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him, which is from Genesis 40, chapter 29. Genesis chapter 40, verse 23. Sorry. It reads, Joseph came to Egypt as a slave, falsely accused of misconduct. He was placed in prison. This wasn't where Joseph wanted to be, but it wasn't long before this prisoner ran the prison. The keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority, because the Lord was with him. Two confused inmates came to Joseph. They each had dreams, but no idea what they meant. Joseph said one dream meant bad news for the dreamer. The others meant the dreamer wouldn't get out of jail. Joseph asked the good news guest to tell the king about Joseph's situation, but this dreamer forgot. You've had bad days. You can relate to struggle Joseph endured. Now, none of this was fair, yet God was with Joseph. God was never promised you a life free of trouble, but he promised to be with you. He never said today will be perfect, but he said you can live in joy daily, because he never leaves or forsakes you. He never said everything would go accordingly to your plan, but he did say that when you love him, he can transform bad things into something good. So yeah, that's the end of my episode. It was a good length episode today. I'm glad that I can get back into having this determination to get back and doing the podcast, being more focused. I pray that I can get out doing more. Like I said, I do want to talk more about sports. I feel like that's my true, genuine passion as well, besides reading scriptures like and messages that I wrote. I would love to get more involved work is going to be a lot for me these next 2 months. So hopefully not advise, but I'm hoping that y'all would pray for me through these next 2 months. Continue to have enjoyment of life. I'm hoping that this message has given you new purpose of life and excitement to continue to go as well. We're all going to go through hardships and battles, but just know that God is always going to be with you. You're not the only one going through this as well. There's multiple people out there in this world that's going through stuff probably just as harder as you, and they're moving forward and having a positive mindset about it. So remember that. I do want to get, like I said, I do want to get more involved, getting more, writing more messages like I was last year. At this point, I hope to get more involved writing those, but I really do hope to get more things. Music has been going well. A lot of music will be dropping soon, so I will do reviews on those. You just had A$AP Rocky's album come out, so I'll give a review on that. And just life in general, life updates. Definitely will give y'all a life update after these next 2 months of how they went for me. But I pumped up. Goal is to have 2 episodes within between those times when I have the episode. So I appreciate everybody listening to this episode. This is episode 5 of the Cancel Podcast, hosted by Devin Smith. Hope y'all have a great and enjoyable day after listening to this, and love y'all. Take care.